Today that over the weekend, on Sunday night, 20 people were shot, 4 of them killed, when a group of gunmen attacked a tavern in Siyabuswa in Mpumalanga. It's understood a group of men just went to the tavern and literally started shooting using high-powered rifles. It's the latest in attacks on taverns in the last couple of years. We've seen attacks on taverns like this in Soweto and KwaZulu-Natal and other places. Lucky Ntimane is the convener of the National Liquor Traders Council. Lucky, good afternoon to you. We've seen attacks like this before. We have a big attack here in Mpumalanga. Are your members, tavern owners, taverns, suddenly becoming targets for attacks like this?
It is becoming very difficult for taverns to operate in this environment. I mean, the issue in Mpumalanga is actually, it's a massacre. It is almost a war zone. I mean, 20 people shot with high-powered weapons. I mean, it's another question as to where do these people get their hands into these weapons. I mean, that's another conversation altogether. But we are worried, and we've seen some of the issues emanating from the Western Cape, where most of our taverns haven't opened their doors since December because they are scared to pay these protection fees. Just over the weekend, we buried one of our own who refused to pay these fees, and they paid with their lives. So this is a worrying trend, you know, where our environments are being used for people to carry out attacks. We don't know whether these are retaliatory attacks or something that people have planned over time to, you know, cause chaos in our space. But in the Western Cape, I mean, it's also a case of clear criminality where people seem to have taken over our environment. So we are extremely worried that, you know, in the next few years, we'll not have any time to talk about if this continues unabated.
Okay, I'm going to come a bit more to the Western Cape and the issue of extortion, the issue of protection money in just a moment. In the case of Mpumalanga, it seems to me, and we've seen other cases, for example, where Zamazamas are targeted. They go to a tavern, regularly to drink. It's a horrible life being Zama, as you know. And so they go and drink. And then they're involved in a dispute with another group, another competing gang. Often that gang knows, or that group knows, they're at the tavern, and they'll know they'll be there on a Saturday night or whenever, and that's when the attack happens. Do you think that's what's happening? People know a group of people, often a group of men, will be in a tavern at a certain time. If you want to attack them, this is the moment?
I wouldn't rule that out, because if you look at taverns, what they are, generally they are social spaces where people go to enjoy themselves. So if you look at a tavern's township setup, rather, the social spaces are very limited, and taverns becomes one of those that would be more attractive for different groupings to go and enjoy themselves. So that is a place where people also will be caught, you know, unaware that an attack is imminent. So if people are going to that space, you know, anyone can attack them because they are in a vulnerable state, they're enjoying themselves, they're having fun. So we do not rule out, you know, that assessment that, you know, these might be, you know, the criminal gangs that are roaming around in our townships that get caught up in the tavern space, and now the shootings then result as a means of, you know, this revenge that we are seeing. So it is something that I think the police will need to take up, you know. I think for us as taverns, we can protect ourselves, but you can only do so much. How do you protect yourself against a rifle, you know, these powerful weapons? I mean, as a way of dealing with the past events, you know, these shootings, some of our taverns, you know, higher securities, but we cannot stop these shootings. I mean, we need to find a way, you know, working together with police to ensure that maybe for us as liquor traders, you know, we put in measures in place that would deter some of these guys coming to our establishments. But how then do you protect yourself from someone who has masked his face? These are guys that have clearly prepared that they are going to carry out these attacks that we now define as a massacre.
Well, the other thing, of course, is that if you're going to have more security, and yes, you can work with the police, but if you're going to get more security, your members need to pay for it. Do they have the money to do that?
No, we actually do not have the money. I think we are saying this in desperation to say we understand the need to protect our patrons. And if that means that we need to get security, that's what we're going to do. But, you know, in the long run, here's my contention that we will not have taverns to talk about because it means our profits are now going to have to go into the security. And that feeds into this fear, you know, that we refer to, the Western Cape issue, where if people think that you've got money to pay security, it means then you have money to pay extortion. And if you don't pay, then you pay with your life. So it's a vicious cycle that we get caught up in as taverns, and this has to stop.
In the Western Cape, you were talking about one case where a person was killed after they had refused to pay protection money, and I'm sure the police will do their investigation, but we kind of know probably what happened here, unfortunately. Is this becoming a bigger problem? I mean, are some people just unable to do business?
It's a much bigger problem. I mean, we are sitting here, we don't even know the motives of these shootings that we've been experiencing Gauteng and in Mpumalanga, and we had some in Limpopo. We do not know the motives. We haven't had any arrests in this regard, so we do not get to understand what drives these people to commit these heinous acts where they can just get into a tavern and start shooting randomly at people. You know, as a country, we're now starting to accept things that we should not be accepting. How can people go into such a place and just start shooting people? I mean, God forbid, 20 of them could have easily died, you know, but only 4 had lost their lives. And we're sending our heartfelt condolences to those families that have lost their loved ones, but also wish those that are in hospital their speedy recovery.
Do you think that, I mean, one of the issues around a tavern, I imagine a lot of it is a cash business. Does that make it a bit more vulnerable in some ways, do you think? I mean, it is, the nature of it is that people go there to relax, right? So if you've got disputes with someone, that's a good place. Alcohol does often have a relationship with violence. We've known that for years and years and years. But this is organized stuff. The people who are arriving to do the shooting aren't inebriated.
So they're not going there to take the money. They're going there to take the lives. So even if you move away from cash into a cashless system, it won't change anything because they just want the source of those people that, you know, they've killed. So it will not help.
Your relationship with the police, and particularly when it comes to extortion and protection rackets in the Western Cape, and you've seen a huge rise in this in Khayelitsha. I've heard of women being told that if they want to walk down the street with their weave, they have to pay money. I mean, it's incredible. Are the police able to protect taverns there?
I think the police have a constitutional right to protect everyone in South Africa, and taverns are no exception. And we have a very good relationship with the police. We are, as National Quartet, part of the Police Week celebration that the police are embarking on in this week. And we also contribute to the educational trust of the police. We have a good working relationship with the National Police Commissioner, General Van Masimula, as well as all the provincial commissioners of police. But also we have a relationship with the Minister of Police. He does take our calls, and we're able to share our frustrations with him. I think what we need to see is a difference on the ground where police are actually apprehending these people that are killing our people, that are enjoying themselves in our taverns.
There's a lack of police capacity to do this. They don't have enough detectives and things like that. That is one of the reasons why you're so vulnerable.
I think so, but I don't think that is the fault of the police themselves. They don't create their own budget. So there's someone sitting high up there who decides that they need to cut the budget for the police. I think that person is to account.
Lucky Ntimane, thank you very much indeed. Convener of the National Liquor Traders Council, really do appreciate the time. Just the latest in a long line of big attacks on people drinking in taverns.